Sorry, I hit the button, so we're having to start over. Okay, we'll put these videos right together. So now we're on our 6 by 6 inch page. So I'm going to have this on the side of my page. We need to score 1 inch. And on this one, it doesn't matter because it's a 6 by 6. Go ahead and fold that away from you. We can move our scoreboard. Okay. Now, a couple of things about our 8 by 6 page you noticed. It opens this way. Well, that's the hinge side. This is going to have a top pocket. If you want a pocket, you don't have to. You can seal at the bottom. We are going to end up gluing that shut. I usually don't do that towards the end. It's up to you. So let's take our 6 by 6, which is now 6 by 5, and I want it to be right at the bottom to give you an idea. And then we're going to have this at the top. Now, you don't have to put the 6 by 6 on if you just want your one flap, but it looks really cool. So now on my scores here, I use the 3/8 inch score tape, and I put one at the top, and I put one in the bottom. Because if you use 1/2 in there, you really have to use your 1/2 inch and your 3/8 anyway. You might as well just use 3/8 at the top, 3/8 towards the score line. Pull that off. Now, if for some reason you don't want this at the very bottom of your page, you can even put it in the middle. Actually, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring it more towards the middle. So you just decide, the look you want. I go towards the look of the paper. And like I mentioned, this is going to be used for the Mad Tea Party. And I want openings and flaps because the doors, I'm thinking of Alice falling down, and she had a lot of passageways to go through. So now my top flap. Now here is also where if you want to round your corners on your flaps, you can round them. You can use your crocodile, and you can go ahead and cut off the corners. I'm going to leave mine square. Put that score tape down. And if at any time after the video and you're watching this, just pop on over to Facebook if you have any questions, and I'll be glad to answer them. I will see your questions a lot quicker on Facebook. Now, I turn it upside down so that the fold, where my flap is going to go is closest to me. Just line it up. You can make it your flap if you want it to be 6 inches, so it's the full page. I like to have a little bit of the paper peeking out on the edge. Your bone folder, it is a little sharp. I try not to use it on my folds because I have torn through my folds, but then I come on the inside. Now, I don't, and you're probably wondering, why don't you cut off these corners? You know what? I used to taper my corners, and then you can see the top of your score, and then when it tapers, you don't, and I don't like the look of it personally. So now, here's our page where we have a flap. I have a flap if you decided to put this one, and then we have a door that opens. Now, what's fun on these, and we're going to put our magnets on in just a second, this is when you can have pockets on the inside of here. You can just do a lot of fun things in here. Now, on this particular page, I'm thinking I can put a magnet here and another one here if I wanted, but because I'm going to use the large magnets, there are 2 sizes if you're not familiar with the magnets, the Basic Grey small ones and the Basic Grey large ones. And I just started using the large ones, and I'm in love with them, especially with heavier paper. So you're going to use magnets for closures. Go ahead and get your magnets. Decide if you're going to do the large or the small. And then on this flap, I'm going to put my first magnet. Actually, I put them together and remove the tape. This is the tricky part. Sometimes it's pretty tight. Okay, now I want to make sure it's going to hit my page in the middle so that I don't have, you don't want your magnets too close to the edges or you will see them. So then I push it down. Like I said, I have both magnets here, so I can line them up. Then just take your tape off. I like to do my magnets as I'm doing my pages, or I forget. Okay, just push it down. Now, as you can see, you have a very strong, an extremely strong magnet. But one thing I noticed with this Marion Smith paper, it's heavy. In fact, it's heavier than Graphic 45, and I absolutely love it. It's going to be gorgeous on the black. See how that's going to look? And actually, that's going to be the page where I have Alice falling down, and I'm going to cut it so that the other pages with the falling, goodness, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought because I ramble on. Anyway, the falling ornaments and things that are at the top of the page, it looks like it's falling. So there is page number 1. And I can't emphasize enough, it's totally up to you. This magnet won't be that tight, I promise. Oh yeah, and I want to show you how well they stay together. See, your pages will not flop open. Even though I've only used the one magnet, it's going to hold it good and tight. It's totally up to you again. If you just want to have one flap, such as my smaller album, and then a belly band, or do you want to have 2? Your decision. Totally how you'd want to customize your album. And that's what's fun about this. Now, see how neat that page is? And you still will have room for a tag at the top. And it didn't take 2 hours to put a page together. Then when you flip it over, we can put on another door. So let's go ahead and make that one. If you've already got your paper cut, which I apologize, we should have. So I'm going to make the flap the full length. So I know I'm going to have it 8 down, and our page is 6 wide. Again, decide. Do you want some of your paper showing? Do you want none of the paper showing? Then you're going to make your flap the full 6 inches of your page. Or do you want, you know, the peekaboo look? I'm going to go for the peekaboo look. So I'm going to cut my paper. Let me get one. I'm going to cut it at 6 for this flap. So we're going to cut it at 6. By 8. And you're saying probably that's the full width. Well, no, we have to score it 1 inch. So let me get our scoreboard. Put it on the 6-inch side and score it at 5. Simple, I know, and you're probably thinking, wow, I can get my albums done in less time now. So let's get that scored. Before I put any tape or do anything, number 1, I make sure I've turned it over the right way so my flap isn't on the wrong side. Then, when I put my flap down, I look at it and decide, well, is that enough paper showing, or do I actually want my flap on the opposite side? So you can have your flap open that way, or you can have it open towards the binding. Totally your decision. But I do want my flap a little bit shorter. I want it to show some of the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and cut. I'm going to actually cut 1.5 inches off. I want to try and have as much of this Mad Tea Party paper showing as possible, still with elements of surprise. And so I'm going to go ahead and put my flap on the left-hand side, my left-hand side. When I open it, then I can put some pockets in here like I've done here, the flip-ups. So I'll probably do a flip-up on that side. So that's the side I'm going to put it on. Let's get our score tape. If you decide you don't want a flap on that page, leave it blank. Maybe you want a pocket. The one thing I like about just using my imagination or using the paper and not using a pattern or, you know, or buying, I think we should support other crafters, but when you buy their pattern, I kind of feel like I have to do it their way, and that's why I don't buy patterns, because I have to do it my way. So I turn the side that I'm going to put the flap on towards me, get it lined up, push it down, and then let's really get that on there. Like I said, I don't miter my corners, and let me show you. You don't see them. When I was mitering the corners, you would see a little cut off at where the paper came and didn't quite meet, and I didn't like it. So I got that on there. It's pretty straight. Now for this side, I'm going to use the smaller magnets. Reason being, I don't have a double flap to go through. Sometimes these magnets like to fly away. So I'm going to go ahead and get my magnet ready. You don't have to do them at this stages if you're really good at remembering. Get the tape off. If ever when you're doing your magnets and you do accidentally peel off your sticky back, just use some score tape. I wouldn't use hot glue. I've tried hot glue and it leaves a bubbly mess under my paper. So let's make sure we're all lined up, and we are lined up. And now we have our magnets. So there's page 1. We've got our page, our flaps. When we turn it over, we have another flap. I don't do any of these other specialty pockets until after I've put my pattern paper down. If you put it down before your pattern paper, you're pretty much screwed, because you will have to take this off to get your pattern paper on. And there's nothing worse than trying to get your pattern paper off when you've used score tape. So there's video number 2, and that's 2 videos to get you started. After you get the first page made, we'll move on to the pages 2 and 3. And so we'll get through these videos quite quickly. And let me know after we make our pages. We'll do the binding. I'll show you how to make the cover. If you want to watch the matting process, just let me know, and I'll make a video on that also. But good luck with your pages. Get 6 of your base pages done. Get pages 1 and the back. And then we'll move on to the next 2 on the next video. Thanks for watching.